Welcome to another deep dive. You know we love to get your suggestions for things to explore, and today's pick comes straight from you.
That's right. We had a listener write in and ask about the hymn for the 2025 Jubilee.
Yeah, they were really curious about, what it all means, what the lyrics are saying, and how it connects to the Jubilee itself.
So that's what we're going to do today, a deep dive into this hymn.
Exactly. And we've got some really interesting source material to work with too, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've got the original Italian lyrics, which were written by Curangelo Saccheri.
Oh, wow.
And then we've got the English translation by Andrew Wadsworth, so we can all, follow along and understand what's being said.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the music itself composed by Francesco Menichello.
So we're going to look at all of that together.
Yeah, you really need to consider all those pieces to appreciate the hymn's full impact, especially as it relates to the Jubilee.
And just to, set the stage a little bit for our listeners, the Jubilee itself is centered around this idea of pilgrimage to the holy door. And there are these themes of reconciliation and prayer and this real sense of hope kind of woven throughout everything,
Yeah.
which is beautifully captured in their motto, Pilgrims of Hope.
Yeah, it's a beautiful motto, isn't it?
It is.
So our mission today is to unpack this hymn, uncover its core message, understand those key themes that are woven into it, and then see how all of that connects to the bigger picture of the Jubilee.
Absolutely.
So I think a great place to start might be with that motto, Pilgrims of Hope. It's also the title of the hymn in English. What are your initial thoughts when you hear that phrase?
Well, pilgrims, that word instantly makes me think of a journey,
Uh-huh.
very deliberate and purposeful movement towards something.
Find the destination.
Exactly, yeah. And then hope, well, that obviously speaks to a positive expectation, looking ahead with anticipation, even when things might feel a bit uncertain.
Right.
So when you put those two words together, Pilgrims of Hope, it paints this picture in my mind of people traveling together. But they're not just, wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
They share the sense of purpose, this positive outlook on where they're headed.
I love that. And the hymn really captures that feeling right from the start.
Mm.
It opens with these lines. Like a flame, my hope is burning. May my song arise to you. Source of life that has no ending on life's path, I trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that image of hope as a burning flame and a song rising up to God. That's powerful stuff.
It is so vivid, isn't it? That burning flame, it feels so alive, like it's giving off light and warmth.
Yeah.
And then that image of a song rising, it's like an outpouring from the heart, reaching upwards.
Mhm.
And when you combine that with the idea of a source of life that has no ending, it evokes this profound sense of faith and reliance on something so much bigger than ourselves.
Right.
Like no matter what twists and turns life throws our way, that source is constant, it's dependable.
You've touched on something really interesting there, that connection between song and what's going on inside us. The text that accompanies a hymn talks about this too. It says that oftentimes while walking along, a song will come to mind, which really seems to express how we are feeling.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that true? And then it connects us to our faith journey, portraying it as a pilgrimage toward the light of the risen Lord.
Oh, I like that.
So our inner song becomes this natural expression of that journey.
That's beautiful.
What's striking is that it's not just about singing in church or, listening to hymns. It's about this inner song that arises even in the midst of our everyday lives, a reflection of our hopes and fears and longings.
Okay, so let's dive into the actual stanzas of the hymn now. The first one seems to lay the groundwork with those lines about the source of life that has no ending and trusting in that source as we go through life. What do you think this sets the tone for the Jubilee?
Well, it immediately establishes this idea of unwavering faith as a foundation. The Jubilee is all about spiritual renewal, so it's only natural for people to kind of examine their core beliefs.
Right.
And this stanza reassures us that no matter what uncertainties we face in life, there's this constant source of strength and hope we can always rely on.
It's a really solid starting point for this pilgrimage.
Exactly. Reminding us where our ultimate hope lies.
Okay, so then we move on to the second stanza. Every nation, tongue, and people find a light within your word. Scattered, fragile sons and daughters find a home in your dear son. There's a real sense of universality here, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. This stanza broadens the scope significantly. It's saying that God's guidance and the welcoming love of Jesus, they go beyond any human boundaries, national borders, languages, anything that might try to divide us.
It's so inclusive.
It is. And that imagery of scattered individuals finding a home speaks directly to the Jubilee's focus on reconciliation, bringing people together. It's about that deep human need for belonging and unity, recognizing that we're all connected despite our differences.
Makes sense that this theme of universality would be so prominent in the hymn. It reflects the Jubilee's goal of being a truly global event open to everyone.
Precisely.
Okay, so the third stanza shifts gears a little bit. It focuses more on God's character. God's so tender and so patient, dawn of hope you care for. Heaven and earth are recreated by the spirit of life set free. That line about heaven and earth being recreated, it's quite striking.
It is, isn't it? It suggests a really profound level of renewal. We're not talking about superficial changes here, but a deep transformation.
Like a complete overhaul.
Exactly. It hints at the possibility of spiritual rebirth during this Jubilee year, a revitalized relationship with God and with the world around us. It's about things being made new at the most fundamental level.
And then we reach the fourth stanza, which turns our attention to Jesus. Raise your eyes, the wind is blowing, for our God is born in time. Son made man for you, and many who will find the way in him. This feels like a call to action and a clear emphasis on Jesus' role.
Absolutely. Raise your eyes. It's like an invitation to look beyond our immediate worries and recognize God's presence active in the world around us.
Yeah.
And that phrase, born in time, emphasizes the incarnation, God entering human history through Jesus. And then those last lines highlight Jesus as the guide, the one who shows us the way.
It ties in perfectly with that pilgrimage aspect of the Jubilee, with Jesus as the ultimate guide for those seeking a deeper connection with God.
Right. It suggests that this journey of hope is all about following in his footsteps.
And throughout all of these stanzas, we keep hearing that refrain, like a flame, my hope is burning, may my song arise to you. Source of life that has no ending, on life's path I trust in you. What do you think is the effect of that repetition?
I think it acts as a sort of anchor. It embeds those key messages of hope and trust deep into our hearts and minds. It's like a constant reminder, a steady pulse throughout the hymn.
Right.
It emphasizes that these aren't just fleeting emotions, but core elements of the believer's experience.
It's a beautiful way to musically and lyrically reinforce those central themes.
Exactly.
The text surrounding the hymn points out some interesting connections to the Bible as well, specifically Isaiah chapters 9 and 60 in relation to that Pilgrims of Hope motto, highlighting those themes of light and the gathering of dispersed people.
Yes, those passages from Isaiah are packed with imagery of hope and restoration, which align perfectly with the Jubilee's message. Isaiah 9 verse 2 talks about the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light,
Oh, wow.
which echoes that line from the hymn about finding light in God's word.
I see the connection.
And then Isaiah 60 verse 1 says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you." That reinforces this idea of God's radiant presence guiding the pilgrims on their journey.
Right. These scriptural links add such depth to the Jubilee's message, giving it that firm historical and theological grounding.
Absolutely.
And there's another interesting reference in the text to Augustine and his idea of a spontaneous song arising during a journey, a song directed towards God with this expectation of freedom and support. It's a very human image of faith, isn't it?
It is. It speaks to that natural human impulse to express our joy, our longing, our faith through song, especially when we're on a journey or going through a significant transition in life.
Right.
It connects the individual pilgrim's experience to a much broader tradition within the church. And that longing for freedom and support that Augustine talks about aligns perfectly with the spiritual aspirations of those undertaking a Jubilee pilgrimage.
Makes you realize this isn't just some modern concept, but something that's been woven into the fabric of Christian thought for centuries.
Exactly.
And speaking of tangible elements of this pilgrimage, we can't forget about the Holy Door. How do you see the hymn's message interacting with that physical act of passing through the Holy Door during the Jubilee?
The Holy Door is such a potent symbol. It represents passage transition, a chance for spiritual renewal. And the hymn, with its themes of hope, trust, and journeying towards God, it provides the inner spiritual context for that outward action.
So as pilgrims walk through that doorway, the hymn's words can serve as a sort of meditation, a reflection on their own personal journey of faith and their hopes for a deeper connection with the divine.
Precisely. It's where the internal and external elements of the pilgrimage come together.
The text also makes a point of highlighting the importance of music and song in the church's liturgy, describing it as one of the lungs. Why is song considered so vital for expressing faith, especially during an event like the Jubilee?
Song has this incredible power to unite people in a shared experience of faith. It can communicate emotions and ideas in a way that spoken words sometimes can't. It's visceral. It goes beyond the intellect. In the liturgy, music elevates prayer. It makes it more communal, more deeply felt. And during the Jubilee, with its emphasis on pilgrimage and bringing people together from all over the world,
Yeah.
a shared hymn becomes a powerful way for individuals to connect with each other. And with the overall themes of the Holy Year, it creates a sense of unity and shared purpose.
And it's amazing to see the lengths they've gone to make this hymn accessible to people around the world. It's been translated into so many languages: Italian, French, English, Spanish, German. The list goes on.
Yes, and they've even got recordings by various choirs and musicians. What do you think that says about the intentions behind the hymn and the Jubilee itself?
I think it speaks volumes about their desire to make this a truly global event, inclusive and welcoming to all. It shows a real commitment to reaching people from all walks of life, allowing them to engage with this hymn and its powerful message in a way that feels personal and meaningful to them.
Right. It transcends those language and cultural barriers. It's a testament to the Jubilee's core message of unity and hope.
So to our listeners out there, as you've been listening to us unpack this hymn, what lines or themes have resonated with you the most? What stood out to you?
And as we've explored these layers of meaning in the hymn, how do you see those themes of hope, pilgrimage, and searching for light connecting to your own life experiences and your personal reflections on the world?
As we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that the hymn for the 2025 Jubilee is so much more than just a piece of music. It's a beautiful and profound expression of the Jubilee's core message. It's about hope, it's about the transformative journey of pilgrimage, and it's about the open invitation to find welcome and belonging within the embrace of faith.
Right.
It draws inspiration from rich biblical imagery and that long tradition of song in the church. And that recurring refrain, like a flame, my hope is burning, it captures that persistent, unwavering nature of hope, a hope that's anchored in something eternal.
As you continue on your own unique life path, I encourage you to reflect on that image of being a pilgrim of hope. What does that concept mean to you, regardless of your personal beliefs or background? Maybe this hymn, with its message of shared hope and our collective journey towards the light, can offer a perspective that you can carry with you.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Until then.